Can you actually teach someone how to build a multi-million-dollar startup? Like, is that a genuinely learnable skill, or are some people just born with it? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into the ultimate founder's playbook. We're going to be drawing directly from Varun Lamaya's incredible insights that he shared recently on The Raj Shamani Show, specifically looking at the curriculum and the philosophy of the Mesa School of Business. We have a massive amount of ground to cover to show you exactly how this is done. And as you'll see in the motion graphics we put together for this explainer, there's a very specific science to it. So let's not waste a single second and jump right in.
You know the myth, right? For the longest time, the prevailing myth out there has been that visionary founders are just born, not made. That you either have that elusive Steve Jobs gene encoded in your DNA, or you absolutely don't. But today, we're completely pulling back the curtain. Looking at the insights coming out of the Mesa School of Business, we're going to prove that building a multi-million-dollar startup isn't just some innate magic trick. It's actually a highly structured, profoundly learnable process. It's a really precise sequence of actions, critical decisions, and, maybe most importantly, mindset shifts. And the best part? Anyone who is genuinely willing to put in the hard work can master it. Section 1. The New Startup Era. Why the future entirely belongs to builders. Okay, look at the stark contrast in the modern business landscape right now. It's literally a tale of two different worlds. On one side, you've got your legacy multinational corporations. Now, these guys are carrying years, sometimes decades of heavy legacy baggage. We're talking entrenched corporate hierarchies, super rigid protocols, and just massive overhead. All of that inevitably slows down their ability to adapt to a changing world. And as a result, their job creation is actually diminishing. But then you look at the other side, agile startups. These companies have absolutely zero legacy baggage. Because they're traveling light, they can innovate incredibly fast. They can pivot on a dime the second the market shifts. And they are rapidly becoming the primary creators of future jobs and wealth. Basically, startups are poised to completely beat out multinational giants in this modern era simply because they can outmaneuver them at every single turn. And honestly, this isn't just some abstract theory we're kicking around. It's literally the exact story behind Silicon Valley's explosive rise over the last few decades. Removing legacy baggage allows for massive, massive leaps forward. Just think about it for a second. Think about how a giant traditional corporation takes, 6 months just to approve a budget for a new feature? Actually, scratch that. Sometimes it takes a year just to get through committee. Well, in that exact same time frame, a lean startup has already built the feature, launched it to the public, failed, learned from that failure, and launched a significantly better version that completely takes over the market. When you strip away all that bureaucratic red tape and those endless approval cycles, what you get is innovation at breakneck speed. That is the Silicon Valley playbook. And it's the high-velocity environment that every single modern founder needs to mentally inhabit if they want to survive. Moving on to Section 2, Core Founder Skills. Moving from learning to building. So this is where the actual building begins. And we're drawing directly from Amazon's legendary leadership principles, but applying them specifically to the startup founder. Let's break these down. First up, customer obsession. Now, this isn't just about having decent customer service. It's about waking up every single day entirely obsessed with solving a burning pain point for your user, well before you ever even think about your profit margins. Then, you've got the absolute ownership mindset. Look, when you are a day one founder, nothing, and I mean nothing, is someone else's job. If your server crashes at 3 a.m. on a Sunday, guess what? That's your job. You pair that intense ownership with a bias for action. This means choosing to make a fast decision and correcting it later, rather than sitting around waiting for perfect data that might never come. And finally, a relentless focus on delivering results. Together, these 4 principles represent the fundamental problem-solving mindset you have to have before you write a single line of code, before you hire your first employee, and definitely before you spend time designing a fancy logo. It's literally the operating system of a true builder. Section 3. Master unit economics, the absolute foundation of survival. All right, let's get into the math. Unit economics is defined as the direct revenues and costs associated with a particular business model, expressed on a per-unit basis. That sounds a little textbook, right? So let's imagine a really simple microstory to make it concrete. Let's say it costs you $10 in total, marketing, manufacturing, everything, to acquire a customer and deliver one single product to them. But that customer only pays you $8. Well, your product fails. It is really that simple. It doesn't matter if 1 million people absolutely love your product, you are bleeding $2 every single time a transaction happens. But if you master this metric and you ensure you make more per unit than you spend, suddenly you've got a business that can scale indefinitely. It sounds like totally simple math, I know, but ignoring this single crucial metric is the #1 reason that passionate, hardworking founders go entirely bankrupt. all the passion in the world just will not save a business with bad math. Section 4. Launch in 2 weeks. Speed over perfection. 14 days. Seriously, that is your target. This is probably the most shocking rule for legacy corporate thinkers. Taking 6 months to build a product in a vacuum, hidden away in your basement, is an absolute death sentence in the modern startup era. The market just moves way too fast for that now. You have to take your grand, ambitious idea, strip it all the way down to its absolute core, build a prototype, and get it out into the real world in 2 weeks. And listen, this does not mean a fully coded, perfectly polished app. No way. A 14-day prototype might just be a super simple landing page to collect email addresses. It might be a manually run concierge service where you are literally doing the automated work yourself behind the scenes, or just a highly simplified wireframe. The entire goal here is to get something, anything, out into the wild so you can see if people actually care about it. So why the massive rush? Why 14 days? Because building unlocks what we call the rapid iteration loop. It goes like this. You launch fast, you immediately get down into the trenches to talk to your very first customers, and then you iterate your product based purely on their feedback. It is this continuous, relentless cycle of shipping and listening. Speed is the magic ingredient here, because it allows you to stop guessing and start actually learning what the market wants. You're using real-world data and actual human behavior, instead of just relying on whiteboard theories that have never been tested outside the building. Every single day you wait to launch is a day you aren't learning from the real world. But, and this is a massive warning, when you do go out and talk to those early customers, you have to be incredibly careful about who you listen to. As the source material highlights perfectly, you must take input only from people who have money, reputation, or outcomes at risk. Think about that for a second. If they don't have real skin in the game, their feedback is honestly just noise. Your mom telling you it's a really nice idea doesn't count. Your friends saying they might use it one day doesn't count. You need to listen closely to the people whose actual wallets or their personal professional reputations are directly impacted by your solution. They are the absolute only ones who are going to tell you the harsh, necessary truth about what you've built. Section 5. The power of distribution. The most important skill you can develop. Here is the ultimate trump card of business, and it's something a lot of tech-focused founders miss. A great product without distribution is just a secret. It simply doesn't matter if you have engineered the absolute best software or the most amazing physical product in the entire world. Building the product is literally only half the battle. Think about an incredibly powerful productivity app built by some absolute genius developer in their basement. If that developer doesn't know how to get it onto millions of people's phones, that app is going to die in total obscurity. Mastering distribution, which means knowing exactly how to get your product into the hands of your targeted customers efficiently and repeatedly, is the dividing line. It's the one thing that separates massive, multi-million-dollar successes from brilliant yet completely failed science experiments. So what is the one specific insight everyone should know to actually scale that distribution? How do you do it? It requires shifting your mindset entirely. It's about finding a specific, painful problem that people will actually pay you to solve right now. If you're a founder, you have to stop asking yourself, how do I sell my brilliant idea? And start asking, what painful problem are people already waving their credit cards in the air to solve? Do you see the difference? It is not about forcing your idea onto an uninterested cold market. It's about pulling the market's pre-existing hot demand directly toward your specific targeted solution. That is how you win at distribution. Finally, Section 6, the AI advantage. Shifting work, not eliminating it. We really need to address the elephant in the room here and look past the widespread panic. On the left side of this equation, we see the pervasive fear, the idea that AI is going to eliminate opportunities and totally replace human jobs. But let's look at the actual reality for builders on the right. AI shifts the nature of work and acts as massive leverage for early adopters. How does a modern founder actually use this as a lever? Well, you use it to instantly write your initial marketing copy. You use it to code the basic structure of your minimum viable product over a single weekend. Or you use it to analyze hundreds of customer feedback data points in a matter of seconds. We have to frame AI not as a threat that's coming to take our jobs, but as the ultimate, tireless co-founder for today's builders who want to scale faster, keep their overhead incredibly low, and stay highly relevant in an insanely competitive market. This entire paradigm shift of the AI era can be perfectly summarized by this one insight. AI shifts the nature of work rather than eliminating opportunity. Builders who adapt early will stay relevant. It is just an immensely powerful tool for the builder. Think about everything we've talked about today. If you're trying to launch your prototype in 2 weeks, if you're actively fixing your unit economics, and if you're trying to build your distribution channels from scratch, AI is basically the accelerant you pour onto the fire. It helps you get all of that done at a speed that was quite literally physically impossible just 5 short years ago.
So I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up. Will you adapt and build, or will you be completely left behind by the new startup era? Because the entire playbook is right here. It's clearly laid out, and it's really just waiting for you to execute on it. If you found this explainer helpful and you want to dive even deeper into these mental models to keep growing as a founder, please hit that like button right now. Leave a comment below with your absolute biggest takeaway from today's breakdown, share this with a fellow builder who really needs to hear it, and absolutely be sure to subscribe for more information and future explainers just like this one. Keep building, stay obsessed with the customer, and I'll see you in the next one.